Yeah, let's go over to John, please.
Okay, so we have Attack of the Clones.
I like the ball too much.
All right. Okay, so we have Attack of the Clones.
You defend.
So we have Attack of the Clones. From what your argument was with Phantom Menace, this is how I am with Attack of the Clones. Lucas himself, even in the documentary for the making of Phantom Menace, he even knew that there was way too much shit going on, and he's like, I might have gone too far. So then you have then you strip down all the complexities and still do complex, but it's kind of like from the original trilogy where it's more of a simple story, but there's a lot of things to unravel in there. Attack of the Clones, you have amazing lore that is established, and you don't even need Phantom Menace. Let's be fair, you don't really need any of the prequels. If you just have the original trilogy, we love it because it's lore and everything after every of the prequels as well. Like, oh, it's amazing. You get so much extra stuff. Let's be honest, you don't see the trilogy. You hear this whole thing of like Obi-Wan and Vader, aka Anakin, being good friends or being, a Padawan and Master, whatever. But you didn't really need it. But if you did need it, you would start with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and you'd be fine. You do not need Phantom Menace. With Attack of the Clones, you have the two stories. I will admit that you also have to watch Clone Wars to really get Anakin and Padme's relationship to really, really be amazing. Yes, I will agree that there's a lot of it doesn't hit as well. It is very wooden. It's sometimes cringy, but overall, though, you have to admit that these are, especially with what John Williams is doing with the music and having it be this old school feel. These two are young people who are confused with war going on, and they do not know how to feel. They don't know how to express themselves. She was a former queen who is now a senator with the weight of Naboo and the weight of the world, especially with her decision to sign for an army for the Republic to battle these separatists. She has no idea what to do. In comes Anakin, who is now a man, and while she is more proper and reserved than and not like Anakin, who is very irrational and sporadic and very much kind of like a boy, but he's a man. But her seeing him after so long, she doesn't know how to react because she doesn't know how to handle her emotions either. Same thing with Anakin. He is impulsive. Okay. You see things of how, I could see why he is going to be Vader in this. Is he whiny? For sure. But you see there's things in there where he can be a wise man like Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan is trying to teach him. But keep in mind, Obi-Wan as well became a young master. Okay. He has some traits. He has some traits like Anakin when he was pleading to and telling Qui-Gon, I'm ready for the trials. Let me be a Jedi Knight. Let me be a master. So you could see Obi-Wan, he sees a little bit of himself in him, but he's also like, let me guide you, follow my lead. But he knows that he's impulsive. So moving back to Padme and Anakin, they can't handle their feelings. So there is that awkwardness. There is that cringiness. I'm not going to completely defend the writing and the direction, but I could see what's going on with this. Like, they cannot handle their emotion, and the weight of the fate of the world is happening. She is having her life on the line as well. And not to mention, then you have Obi-Wan doing a Dick Tracy, trying to figure out who this bounty hunter is trying to kill Padme, but this bounty hunter has been hired by the Separatists. Who is Darth Lord Tyrannus? What is this? And then the whole clone army. Can you imagine Obi-Wan? You could even see in Obi-Wan's face when he goes to Kamino and sees that the army of the Republic is ready to go. What is this? Ready to go. And then not to mention, the Separatists are starting to really ramp up. Count Dooku, who is revealed to be Tyrannus, but Count Dooku is like being what Palpatine wants to be, but he has to be behind the scenes or whatever. So you have all this interesting stuff, but at least it's chronological and it feels good. It's two separate stories that have so much lore, like what you're saying, but it's interesting. Things are happening. Things do not happen in Phantom Menace until with the opening of it, with the two Jedi Knights trying to figure out this peace treaty with the Federation and Naboo. But then shit happens. After that, though, the rest of the time nothing happens until the ending, which is too much, by the way, which Lucas also understands, because then he makes that with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. He makes that more of like, so you can follow. Without it not dumbing down your audience. Yes. So he does respect his audience to an extent. It's just that, his warped sense of this is for kids, this is for adults, that gets kind of whatever. But for everyone. Yeah, exactly. But
truth is really depends on your point of view.
Sure. But yeah, so all of this intrigue is phenomenal, and then it all for these two separate storylines then all connect at the very end with the Battle of Geonosis, and now you have the very thing that Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker talk about in A New Hope, being like, you fought in the Clone Wars? I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father. Like, you see that in that ending battle, and it's incredible. And then it's to show what's to come.
Yeah.
Okay, and there is a lot more moving parts with the Sith are becoming known. The Separatists are fighting the Republic. Now you have the clone troopers, the stormtroopers from then on down the road. The Chancellor getting these emergency powers to where he shall become the Chancellor to then rise up in power as the Emperor.
He loves the monkey.
You have exactly, yeah. But and then you have all these intricate things, especially with Padme and Anakin, where the romance is starting, which means what happens then? There's going to be more drama. There's going to be heartbreak, and then obviously Luke and Leia are born down the road. Like it sets up things far more than Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace is honestly it feels like a side quest. It doesn't feel like the only thing that Phantom Menace really does is Anakin meet Obi-Wan Kenobi, and hey, the Sith, something's going on. That's it.
I would disagree a little bit. I think Phantom sets up Anakin's attachment issues with his mother, sets up the relational aspect of Qui-Gon and why that's important, and why the lack of Qui-Gon is important.
Yes.
And it sets up the Chancellor's rise to power. That being said, I think that Phantom Menace is much more, like I said before, the pebbles that start an avalanche. Attack is very much, we're seeing a lot more traction, everything's happening. I get why Phantom feels disconnected. It is. It's 10 years before these events happen. You get to see the very first baby steps of where this is going, whereas to your very true point, Attack is very much so taking those things on more. I got to say, the last 2 times I watched Attack, it was more favorable in my eyes. I used to not love it so much. I would still put it under Phantom Menace in my opinion.
So,
but I do like it a lot more now.
That was my 2 probably favorite moments from Cinema 3D. The defense of Phantom Menace and Attack. That was beautiful. You deserve one of these if you want one.
Yes, that was a beautiful illustration of Attack. That was great.
Now, I agree with what both of you said. Having said that, I do think Attack is better than Phantom.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't
putting him on the same.
I can't even
level.
I can't even comprehend
what Attack being better.
Attack being better than Phantom. I can't even track with that.
That's why I wanted Phantom and not a fan, because I like Attack more than Phantom for sure, but I would probably still put it in non-fan.
Where I would like to see Attack.
Not a fan.
Probably.
Really? I would put Attacking good flick.
Good flick.
I could put it in good flick,
Just think about what's to come with everything else. In my opinion, like this is the same exact thing. This is what I love about what James Cameron said about George Lucas. In defense to George Lucas because of the sequels and everything. It's like at least George Lucas in the prequels try to do something new and different. That's why I would put Attack at least in good flick.
I could live with it. I would be okay with it and not a fan, but I could live with it in good flick.
The problem is because once we do that, then we're gonna have to put 2 pretty good movies in not fan if we don't switch them.
Really? What?
Hold on a second.
Depending, like, regardless of all our opinions, there are some movies that are just genuinely better than Attack and Phantom that are still up on the board.